Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Deja Vu here, bringing you set 4 of this Winter League playoff series between Hite, Entus, and SKT1. SKT1 is in the lead, 2 games to 1, with Fantasy and Sack getting wins. Fantasy is going to be here again on set 4. And he's going to be playing against Snow, as I suspected. This is going to be on Aztec, which has been, so far, a rather Protoss favored map in this matchup against Terran. That being said, Snow did beat Fantasy on this map earlier in the Pro League, so that is definitely something that Snow is going to be looking to as a source of confidence. Unfortunately for him, Fantasy also did beat Stork on this map, and that's a scary thought, as Fantasy really destroyed Stork on this map. It was not very close, and that would have been game 2 of the OSL finals where that happened. So we'll see what Snow has in mind for us today. He has been a very, very good TV tier in his history. It's his best matchup, nearly 64%, and yeah, very, very impressive. He has losing records in all of his other matchups apparently. So yeah, looking at it that way, he is kind of a sniper when it comes to it. When he first started out, I believe he was on some crazy run versus Terran. I forget how long it was. It was quite an impressive run when he first kind of broke out onto the scene. It was like 8 or 9, 10 wins versus Terran, and included some really good ones. So he's definitely shown that he can do it. Obviously he has no playoff experience or really much deep into Star League experience. So maybe we'll see how he handles the pressure of a playoff, but definitely has the potential, and we'll see what he does. It looks like we're gonna have standard openings from both guys, nothing too cheesy. We have a forward Rax from Fantasy, and basically all the forward Rax does is it stops, or it's more effective against a possible 12 next, and that's really all the forward Rax is. It helps you get the rush onto a 12 next, and that's something that Fantasy is definitely concerned about and wants to watch out for. He's going to get this Rex, and I'm going to go get the Scout out, and if there's a 12 next, he's just going to send his Marines out and try and do some damage and punish Snow for it. But Snow's not going for that sort of build, so he'll have a Zealot out pretty soon here, and he'll be more than well in shape to defend against it. And we'll just go on into the real builds that each of these players has prepared. I'm sure that the game is not going to depend on Fantasy getting a bunker rush off. That being said, he does have a refinery down, so this isn't going to be one rack CC either. So this is going to be a much more conservative, much more traditional build from Fantasy than perhaps you may be expecting from Fantasy's history. But that's what we're going to see. And the barracks is not going to get scattered out, so he's going to be producing Marines. Fantasy is going to, or Movie's going to get, oh my god, Snow, this is Snow, is going to get into the base and be like, where is everything? But yeah, now he sees the barracks, and it just sees that it's a forward rack. Nothing too crazy to be concerned about for Snow. For those of you who don't know this map, you do have your low ground main into a high ground expansion. And then from there, the map kind of opens up once you leave your natural expansion. There's a small ramp that goes down into the middle of the map where there's a gas X before you. And if you instead from looking from Snow's position, if you go counterclockwise, if you go clockwise from Snow's position, you will get to a mineral-only base and a wider ramp that kind of goes into another set of bases. And it's just a very large map. There's a lot of places to go. Travel time is pretty significant going from base to base, and especially once you start throwing in third bases, fourth bases, and things like that. So that's definitely part of the reason that Protosses have been very successful. It does look like we're having an attack come in here from Fantasy. We do have a Vulture joining it, and a bunch of units really going down to go on the attack. We have a Zealot, a couple of Zealots have been produced, and 3 Marines on the attack, and here comes a bunker rush. So I'm actually really surprised to see Fantasy going for the bunker rush, considering the fact that this wasn't a 12 next, considering the fact that there was a gateway down and the Zealot produced first. He wasn't even really delaying a Zealot or anything, and the SCV building the bunker goes down, and SCV is trying to guard for the Vulture and the Marines as they're trying to get to that bunker, trying to finish it. This is actually kind of a weird attack, but it's working. Jeez, this is very, very odd, but it is actually working. This was not a 12 next, but it almost feels like the pressure is on like it was a 12 next, and Wow, this is kind of crazy. A second bunker at a different position is going down, and where are the zealots for Snow? I think they went out to try and pick off any reinforcements, but there really aren't any reinforcements here. This is basically it, and Fantasy is just gathering up behind it, and he has one bunker finished, and this Nexus is going to go down. It looks like with that bunker up and all those SCVs. And now we have speed vultures, so these zealots are virtually useless now against these speed vultures, and things are just looking kind of blue for Snow right now, and that's going to be a problem. He is going to try and guard this ramp, I guess, and trying to take a hidden expo at the bottom left. That would traditionally be probably his fourth base, traditionally either his fourth or fifth base normally. So I'm going to try and sneak that one in and see if he can get away with that. He's getting a robotics facility. He's going to need those observers. There's no compromising on that. You need those observers to deal with the mines. So that's going to be an expenditure that he unfortunately has to make. And this Zealot is going to go down to the combined Vulture Fire and gets one hit in before it dies. But what an effective attack from Fantasy. Very unorthodox attack and very, very effective. Effective here, and a couple vultures and another marine are there to help defend this bunker, and those mines are going to make it really difficult for Snow to move out. So this is a really tough position for Snow. It's a reverse ramp, so leaving your base is actually defending your base is actually harder than attacking into a base. And this is the kind of a map, or this is the kind of a position where you see 10-15 gates and things like that really come into play because of the reverse ramp and the dominance that Dragoons can have on top of a ramp. Looks like Snow is forced to cancel that next at the bottom left as soon as it was scouted out, so he's not going to have that to fall back on, and he's not actually going to go for observers here. Instead, he's going to go for reavers, and that will require some pristine control on his part. He will have to use this shuttle and reaver combination to its fullest potential in order to work his way back into the game. I mean, he's got to be very, very careful about any spider mines. If he drops his first reaver and accidentally hits a spider mine and loses it, that's game right there. This reaver has to do damage, has to break this contain, has to do just has to do a lot in order for him to work his way back into this. We do have Fantasy throwing down his second base at his natural expansion, and Snow is trying to sneak a base now at the top left at that mineral only, which would be the third base. The 9 o'clock base is natural third. The shuttle is about to get scouted out by the barracks. A couple Dragoons being moved out, ferried over in order to just have them. And Fantasy misses this. Oh wow! Fantasy misses the Nexus there at the top left. The Vulture was right there, right in position, and somehow he misses it. I think, yeah, I gotta think that he missed it. And here is Fantasy's first-person view, and yes, he did miss it, just barely. A small part of me was hoping that maybe, or just thinking that maybe he saw it, but decided, hey, I'm gonna move away, let it warp in, and then take it down, and really dominate him that way. And we do have a Zealot and a Reaver being dropped down, and the Reaver gets one shot off, gets a second shot off, and there goes the tank. So that will be it. This Reaver will be able to clear out his natural expansion and defend it. So there is something Snow will be able to move out pretty shortly, as long as he's got an observer out. Yes, he also has the observer. Reaver Scarab going off, killing four Marines. That's always fun. And now he probably should pick up that Reaver before it wastes any more shots on spider mines and this turret that he doesn't really need it to do anything to. So there is that he should probably do. Doesn't want to waste any more money. He doesn't have a lot of it, so he doesn't want to make. I think every little cent that he can save, every 15 minerals he can save is important. Looks like the top left base has finally finished, so that could actually come up really big for Snow. Could end up really changing this game if that mineral only is not accounted for in Fantasy's calculations of what he should expect to see, the timing of when he should be getting attacked, the composition of units that he expects to see. All of that can be completely changed by the appearance of this mineral only, and that Fantasy doesn't know about. So that is a huge advantage for Snow if he can get to that point where that really starts to come into play. Looks like Fantasy is developing into a more traditional build, getting a couple more factories down and building up his tank forces, while Snow moves across. Now I keep saying movie when I mean Snow. This is Snow. This is Snow. We do have a third command center for for Fantasy being built, and that would be probably actually taking the... I don't know whether you'd take the inside base or go for the mineral only. It's hard to tell. And Zealot on the ramp actually stopping the Vultures from getting a run by. That could have been absolutely devastating if that had gotten in there and losing a bunch of losing a bunch of probes. That's something Snow cannot afford at this point. After losing the Nexus, forced to cancel a Nexus, and losing a pylon, you know, he's just lost a lot of little things here and there. Got to be careful with this Reaver. Do not want to drop it on top of a mine. And does drop his Zealot on top of a mine, and now that Reaver is not going to be very effective without the Zealot backup. He's going to need to come back and pick up a Zealot or perhaps a Dragoon, something in order to take a shot before he can go harass anymore. In fact, it looks like he's not even going to bother harassing anymore. Snow actually playing this very, very wisely, not trying to try and get a Maynard into that top left base, just completely letting it slowly build up on its own, which I think is definitely the smart move here in order to keep it hidden. Comset stations are going up for Fantasy now as well. He's moving that command center to go take his third base, that mineral only, and some Vultures coming out here to try and force back these Dragoons. They are going to be successful, and Fantasy is going to be able to take this third base, his mineral only, rather easily. So both players are going to get to an even number of bases here, but the momentum of the game just feels like Fantasy is very much in command at this point, and it looks like, where is Fantasy's Vultures? Wow, for a second I thought Fantasy was sending those Vultures to the top left. He was going to catch that base, which would have, you know, that base, if it gets caught out, is going to be really bad news for Snow. We do still have this shuttle with the Reaver inside of it. It looks like it's going towards that mineral only of Fantasy to see if it can do some damage. The turret has almost been completed, and it is going to finish just in time. He should have dropped off that Reaver just a bit earlier, and he would have actually been able to sit there with this shuttle for a little while longer. Unfortunately for him, he did not do that and delayed, and Snow almost lost that shuttle. That would have, with the Reaver in it, that could have been a big blow as well. And really, you know, Fantasy's still looking in pretty good shape. He's got a few Vultures here. Going to try and sneak into the main, get a scout on, see how many gateways there are, see where the tech is at, how close arbiters are, or if there's probably not. I mean, I don't think that he's going to suspect carriers at this point. Just wants to see how many gateways there are. Seeing the number, looks like there's 8 gateways, 4 made and 4 warping in. There might be another one up there, so it could be up to 9 gateways right now. Competing with, it looks like just 4 or 5 factories right now for Fantasy. With that new base coming in pretty shortly, well, I'm sure we'll see a couple more factories thrown up. And Vulture's throwing down some mines around, and looks like he's going towards the top left. Will he go to the top left and see this base? There's a cannon about to go up, and he is not going there, so he is not going to see this. This could be so... This is crazy for Snow, that Snow is getting away with this. This is such a huge advantage for him. And, yeah, wow. Snow could actually legitimately come back and win this game just with overpowering macro. Usually when you lose your natural expansion that early and you lose your first hidden base, you don't expect to win a game based on your macro advantage, but Snow's trying to build that. He's taking another mineral only, so he'll be able to build a ton of Zealots, first of all. And second of all, with 2 mineral onlys, he may actually want to consider going with more of a carrier build rather than an arbiter build, because he'll have all those minerals. And if either of those mineral onlys, even if just one of those mineral onlys can survive, he'll be able to supply a carrier interceptor force. Vulture has gone to this 6 o'clock position, is picking off a couple of probes that are at this mineral only, but that's not the mineral only that he really needs to discover. That is not the mineral only he needs to learn about here. And a big Vulture, or a big Reaver shot going off, catching a couple of Vultures and taking them down. And it does look like we are going to see, we have the Temple Archives, looks like we are going to see standard Arbiter play, not going to be going straight to carriers for Snow here. And I really think that he should have gone for carriers in this position, but, you know, it's his choice. He's choosing to go for more of the Arbiter build here, and hopefully he'll be able to supply it with enough troops to make it worthwhile. The tank forces for Fantasy are growing. No upgrades yet on them. 4th command center is being produced. Looks like he's going to try and take that 3 o'clock base, and that would be his 4th. And that would also give him his 3rd gas, which will be very, very big for him. Neither player currently has a 3rd gas. It looks like Snow has just thrown down a 5th base at the 9 o'clock Natural Expo. So that will be his 4th gas if he can get that operational here. And what have we got here going on? Could this be an assault by by Snow, trying to hit that third base. No, he's still just going to keep playing defensively. And now the Vultures are moving out. Looks like they found out this natural expansion, but I still don't think he has any idea about that mineral only. And where is it going? Oh, wow. The Snow actually threw down a 6th base. Crazy Snow. Snow is going nuts, over expanding here. This could actually end up being very, very dangerous for him. He's taking so many bases that does he have the army to defend against to defend once Fantasy really gets it's this back row going, because Fantasy is going to be pumping off a lot of factories. He's getting ready to push out, probably going to get close to maxed out before he pushes out, and that actually is a fleet beacon. So so he is going to go carriers. Looks like the Templar Archives was just for maybe storms or something like that. And the Zealots have just melted. Look at all those Zealots. They go in for the attack while the tanks are still unsieged. They siege up, and the Zealots just melted. Terrible for Snow. So unfortunate for Snow. His entire force just was completely decimated. So he has so little army right now. He's trying to rebuild it, but he is in huge trouble right now, military-wise. He's got this one Reaver that's going to help a little bit, but there are so many tanks that one Reaver is not going to be enough. Look at that army moving across the field. Snow needs so many things. Snow needs Storms. Snow needs Arbiters and Carriers and Reavers and 50 Zealots and another 20 Dragoons, and maybe then he'll be able to hold this up, but he is just in huge trouble. He has overexpanded and does not have enough military on the field, and this is terrible for Snow right now. I have no idea how he's going to be able to counter this army. This army is too big, too well equipped, too large to deal with, and runs right into that trap that Fantasy had laid with the mines, falls right into it and loses a few Dragoons and takes damage on a bunch more. So huge problems right now for Fantasy, or I'm sorry, for Snow left and right. Snow looks like he's going to lose this bottom left base. If he goes, no, it looks like Fantasy's not even going to bother with it. It looks like he's going to go straight for the third and then maybe just crawl right into the main and just decimate Snow that way. Go for those 3 bases. And here comes the big fight. The tanks for Fantasy are just now sieging up, and there's the siege mode. Has finished. Has come up, and all of the Zealots are down once again. Snow not able to close enough damage. Just not enough Dragoons there to support the Zealots. The Zealots in that case actually survived a little bit longer than in the first engagement, but not enough Dragoons backing them up to really do the damage. And now all the tanks and just too much there for Snow to deal with. And Snow's going to be forced to GG. I thought the game was starting to get very, very close, but I think Snow just overexpanded there at a critical moment and just did not have anything left on the field to deal with Fantasy's massive army. So Fantasy gets his 2nd kill, and that's going to be 3 wins for SKT1. Fantasy going to go for the win. It's going to be on Circuit Breaker against, we will find out who they decide to send out, who Hite Entus decides to send out. Probably Movie. They have a couple other options as well. Not a ton of good ones after Lita, Hydra, Snow, and a little bit of Movie. There's not a whole lot left for Hite Entus to really turn to. Sky High, not really informed. If Sky High was informed, perhaps you could see him come out. Harangi, rank 2, I just don't think that he's got it to win 3 games. I think the best bet is going to be a Movie, and that's probably what we'll see in the next set. So I will see you guys all in I guess it would be Game 5 on Circuit Breaker. It will be Fantasy against against the Hite Entus player, probably Movie, but we will find out for sure in just a moment in set 5.